Hey there, happy Wednesday, it's me Victor here. Gonna do a quick video lesson on today's ticker, BYND. Congrats to all those who made tons of money on it. Not sure how long this is gonna be. I'm just gonna go over some things and what's on my mind. Again, all this is not advice, it's just for educational purpose only, alright? Again, the previous video, as I mentioned, always keep watch of former runners, okay? And I need to say that one more time, okay? Former runners can run again. That is how you spot. The best indicator of a future runner is the past. And I always say, I don't know who you are, but you have to keep a database of stocks. You have to do that, okay? You have to keep a database of stocks. It's boring, but it comes down to this tweet right here, okay? The short bear is a great trader. I'm not going to read it all to you, but on days like today with BYND, and I'll go with my trade, which I traded on it today. I pretty much doubled my account. It's not random though, you know. And here's one thing I want to show you. On days like today, you know, you're gonna see big P&Ls on Twitter, people making millions, whatever. And I want you to remember that it's you versus you. That's really all that matters at the end of the day. Stop trying to compare yourself to other people, other traders, because again, you're writing your story. Don't compare your story to someone else's story. Don't compare your chapter to someone else's chapter, okay? Your story is different from someone else's story, okay? And it's pretty much right here in front of you. You know, the best thing you can do is study other great traders. And you do that by following the great traders and looking at why they place that trade, what makes them go in that trade. And you have to kind of reverse engineer. And there's so much out there nowadays with the internet. And like he said, I mean, we're seeing a lot more now, more than ever. Just because of that, there's so much resources online, whether it be YouTube or really X has been a great platform for trading ideas. But on days like today, it motivates me rather. You know, if it should motivate you seeing people post this P&L, because look, they started just like you and I with nothing in a sense, you know, but they worked their ass off. And I'm working my ass off doing this. No one knows who I am yet, but I mean, hopefully one day I'll learn from this and understand that it wasn't luck, you know. But the same pattern will run again. This is beyond meat, okay? This is purely a meme play. It's purely hype. It's purely, meaning the catalyst on this was a massive short trap, okay? And they have they've ran the past, but they've done so many reverse splits that it does not, the chart doesn't really show the past runners. But I'm going to add a video at the end of this that I recorded yesterday, but I didn't put it up because I wanted to wait till today. But I'll add at the end of this. And I was pretty much saying how I got long. Pretty much from the video from Monday, you saw that I got long before market close because I saw this had potential more upside. That swing was great. I capitalized really well, but for some reason I got shook out. And that's one thing I'm working on. In my mind, I'm like, why am I selling? It's the volume's there. And I want you to always pay attention to one thing in trading. Okay, I always tell you, volume, volume, volume. This has been increasing every day, okay? Roughly 2 billion shares traded, you know? 1 billion the first day, 2 billion, and today more. Volume, volume, volume. It's all accumulation, distribution, and rinse and repeat, okay? But as I mentioned from Friday, I got long pretty much in this dip here. And yes, it was somewhat chasing, but I saw the odds, okay? Again, you always want to think in terms of a risk to reward. And this is what really fueled this was short sellers. Again, short selling, you make money when the stock goes down. And I want to emphasize something right now. Yes, you're right. Short sellers, congrats. Most people who made bank on this, million plus, shorted this today. This is a great setup. I'll go over it in a minute. Again, I'm not trying to teach you short selling. Would I have taken this? Yes. Okay, I'm not going to show you that it's easy. No, but in the moment, it's the same pattern, just reverse. I'll go over it in a moment. But in the grand scheme of things, short sellers, you are right. You know, as I mentioned, most of these companies go down in the end. Okay, most of these companies will not make it in the end. Just like recently, GSIP has been setting up greatly. Most of them had a short yesterday. Now it's basing. It's setting up. But most of these supernova plays, I'm trying to think. Well, like I mentioned in the last video, like AMC, whenever it went supernova back in the other meme sector time, I think it was 2021. Yes, the short sellers were right. Okay, it came down eventually. Again, it didn't go to 726. They did a reverse stock split. But yes, you were right. Same thing with GME. Yes, you were right. It went down. Okay, but I'm trying to show you don't want to short the front end of a move. Okay, and Beyond Meat was just that. It pretty much all of the indicators was saying that this was going to go higher on day one of the move. Now, again, I did not think this was going to high of $8 or $9. No, I was just taking a part of the move in my mind, thinking this is a good risk-reward trade. Though I got long, pretty much for the overnight gap, and that's what we got. And that's really much. I sold. Sorry for coming out a lot. I sold pretty much as it gapped up, right in this here. And that's something, and here's one thing I recognize. I tell myself, why am I selling this? The volume is there, the strength is there. And I pretty much waited here for this dip. You know how it based? I pretty much waited right there for that dip buying opportunity. And I got long, roughly at 220. Pretty big size. And I added pretty much along the way. Because it was a very strong stock. And again, the volume. And again, you want, whenever you're buying something, you want fuel. You want a reason for something to go up. Don't just buy randomness. Now again, this is a specific type of play. You don't see this every now and then, okay? This is what you call a short squeeze, okay? And I was long, pretty big. And I even added more in this dip right here. Pretty big. I was long 14,000 shares overnight from a 250 average. So it was great, 264 average, I'm sorry. And again, I didn't sell at 826. No, I sold pretty much half pre-market as we dipped here. And here's one thing I track, I always lock in half, whatever it means, and I will let the other half pretty much not ride, but till market opens. Because I've seen this play before on a couple of tickers recently, that how they pretty much trap them in, but we pretty much had a nice rejection and fade into the market open, roughly about more than 20%. And whenever you have a big decrease from the highs, pre-market highs, the odds saying it's very unlikely it's going to test that level again. And this is a good point here. I drew this pivot point right here before market open. Okay, this was not here. So it's kind of cool how it topped right there. Okay, it's not random. This previous resistance, but pretty much I sold the rest as it broke 550. Then I got long again, somewhat over trading. First off, that first trade from the swing trade was my biggest gain of the year so far. Biggest gain of the year. But yeah, but I pretty much got long off this dip right here again. And for some reason, I was aiming to have this breakout short squeeze up here, and we didn't get that. I kind of got too cocky. But the bounce was spot on, but I pretty much broke even. I pretty much held it to break even. And that's pretty much it on that one. But on the short end, I'm not going to try to teach you short selling. It's very tricky. It's very hard. I don't recommend it unless you have already proven yourself you can make money going long, because it's a lot harder making money on the short side than on the long side. Okay. But most of the big money is made on the short side because these are shit companies, Yes, as I mentioned, the odds say you're right in the end, okay? Statistically speaking, in the long run, you will be right, okay? But 5-star on this one, okay? And the main lesson here is just like, you have to understand, the herd, the crowd, the masses will always in the end win, okay? This didn't go from the low of 50 cents, to the high of $8, almost $9 because of the news. No, it's purely hype, and that's not lasting. See, this is a different from swing trading. This is a day trading type of strategy here. This pattern offers the best short selling odds risk. This is probably the best short selling pattern, day trading pattern, is shorting these daily extended runners. When it aligns like this, these picture perfect bounces offer great risk to reward. Because you pretty much short these bounces risking off the previous levels, but because you short there risking that level. But again, I'm not going to go over details, but that's a specific pattern which I've studied in the past. Perhaps one day I could do it, I don't know, but I'm just being long right now. But yeah, that's pretty much that trade on that one. Again, I pretty much doubled my account. I was in a drawdown, and that's one thing here I want to understand to you. Most of the time, you will be in a drawdown. Most of the time you will be in a drawdown. But sometimes all it takes is a couple of plays like this in a year to make your year. And the rest is just a grind. Okay, the rest is just a grind. And it goes back to the tweet here, as I mentioned. Stop trying to do bare minimum, It's all out there, he says. Bare minimum is the above. At least you can look back and know you gave it everything. Exactly. I'm doing these for me. I know no one watches these. If someone does watch them, cool, that's awesome. I hope you learned something from this. But looking back, I know I'll at least say I tried. I have thousands of charts database for every year. Okay? It's not random. I track spreadsheets of one specific pattern. But this goes back all the way to when I first started trading, in 2017, when I first saw my first supernova, IGC, okay? The list goes on and on and on. But it's really down to you. How bad do you want this? Stephen Ducks made today about 8 million, Jack Kellogg made about 3 million, many more made millions probably, but the main thing is, they're just like me and you, getting started. You can do it, I can do it. But yeah, that's my thesis on that. I don't think this is done by any means. Ideally, these type of patterns have a bounce of some sort. Ideally, gap down tomorrow. Just ranges, let it build a range. No need to chase. Because as a short selling, they're gonna want to cover. That's buying pressure. So I'm watching it. Over $4, $4.50. One more thing before I go. One I'm watching is this particular stock, YYAI. It's a sympathy runner, TBYND. Look at the volume, roughly 2.5 billion, almost. Look at the stock, it's neglected. Same type of deal as BYND. This stock I am watching. I'm not saying it's going to do something crazy. I mentioned always pay attention to ADR. I'm not sure why it says 108%, but that's crazy. Probably because the chart's like shit today and moved drastically. But I'm watching this one. We'll see what happens. We'll see. I have no expectations. I'm just going to let this play and who knows? Again, I don't really day trade a lot. But with their sector momentum, you have to take advantage of the opportunity. And another thing, the quantum sector is looking like we're going to have a bounce day tomorrow or something, because I saw on X that the White House or Trump is looking to quantum computer companies, so I saw some charts on that. But YYAI I'm watching for over really 20 cents or the daily. Again, this is a hype play, shit stock. But again, as I mentioned in a tweet earlier this week, it's often the shittiest stocks that make the big unrealistic moves. Okay? That's how it is. You're trading the ticker, not the company. At the end of the day, all that matters is price action. That's all that matters. Because people thought Beyond Meat There's no way it can go. It's a shit company. Who cares? Your opinion means nothing. Okay? Your opinion means nothing. But 3 plays I'm watching for tomorrow is obviously BYND for the bounce play, YYAI for potential theme play, mean play kind of in a way, over 25 cents or 20 cents. Who knows? The volume's crazy. But yeah. And these quantum plays, RGTI, QBTS, IO, and Q. All of them I am watching. And the key thing in theme plays, you always say, okay, which one do I trade? It's you trade with the one with the highest ADR. Okay, that's what I usually do. And RGTI has roughly 14%. QBTS pretty much in the same area. But they had news today after hours. Yeah, Trump administration reportedly exploring talks in quantum companies, and they listed these 3 main ones. So I'm watching this one for sure, of some bounce of some sort. Because again, as I mentioned, most of these theme play patterns are going to have a bounce of some sort. As I mentioned, it's just being patient. And I got a video over that, pretty much backside versus front side. So we'll see. Hopefully we get a nice bounce over, well, looks like over the 10 day. I mean, we're already at after hours. What are we at after hours? 42. We'll see. Over 46 would be ideal. But those are really the ones I'm watching. RGTI, QBTS, and IO and Q. Out of the 3, I prefer RGTI. Out of the 3, it's made the biggest move from the prior run, from 12 to high of 60. So RGTI is the one I'm watching. QBTS as well. Well, both of them made quite great moves. So those 2 I'm watching. RGTI over really 46 opening ranges. QBTS over 34 opening ranges. And if not, it fails, it fails. And my trade from Monday in VTS was a great trade. It didn't do what I want. As I said, it pretty much I was long this opening range break. As I mentioned, same thing over and over again. Big move, sideways, and another range break. But we had a gap down, and no big deal. It happens. I sold for a nice gain. That's the art of trading. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. But that's really all I wanted to talk about today. Hopefully I'll learn something from this. Again, key takeaways. Never say stock can go higher. Remember, you're trading the ticker, not the company. And just understand what you're doing. And understand that your journey is different. I'm not going to get into motivational, but I always see people like on posting the P&Ls. It's great, okay? But don't feel bad if you're not posting a big enough P&L than other people. No, just remember that you started, or they started just like you. They started just like you. Congrats to him, though. By the way, he made $1 million today on this stock. Congrats to David. 1.3. That's awesome. But as he said here, look, this is what he said. He started in 2016, learning and seeing. It's gonna happen eventually. It's gonna happen eventually. But all right, I won't leave you here. But for sure, watch this one tomorrow. I may do a video tomorrow, depends on what things happen. But one more time, Beyond Meat, ideally a bounce of some sort, over $4, $4.50. We often get a bounce on these for sure. If not tomorrow, sometime by the end of the week. YYAI, theme play continuation. If not, fade, just backlist. And quantum plays, RGTI, QBTS, I'm watching. And IO and Q, but these are the ones I'm watching mainly. But yeah, that's all. And again, I want to add the other video from yesterday at the end of this. So if it doesn't make sense, it's okay. Just again, the video that you're gonna see right now is from yesterday. But other than that, I will see you next time. Hey there, happy Tuesday. Hopefully you're having a great trading day. Just gonna go over one particular stock. Not sure how long this is gonna be. Again, all these are for educational purpose only, alright? Don't take anything as advice. Everyone's been talking about Beyond Meat, okay? Again, this is gonna be a little rant here. I don't know who you are. If you're just watching this, okay, this is a classic short squeeze, okay? And remember what I always tell you, okay? At the end of the day, I put this on Twitter today, and I'm currently long this stock. It was a swing trade. If you watched my video from yesterday, I added more today. It's by far my largest trade of the year so far. I'm long roughly, what am I long here? I added today. I'll go over the reasons why and all that stuff. I'm long roughly 13,000 shares, which I was long yesterday, but I got stopped out. I sold that for a net gain. Then I pretty much rebought today, and I'll go over my thesis for doing all that in a moment. But I tweeted this today. At the end of the day, all that matters is price action. Doesn't matter if the company is shit. Yes, in the long term, you're right. As Tim Sykes, who I learned from in the past, says 1,000 times, advantage of market opportunities. Thank you, shorts. Okay, so one thing I want you to understand. Number one, no one knows nothing. Okay? No one knows nothing. Tune out the noise. Only thing that matters at the end of the day is price action. That is it. Okay? And volume. This roughly traded 2 billion of volume today. Yesterday was 1 billion. I bet you no one in their mind thought it was going to double in volume, but it did. Okay? Again, this, yes, you're right. Long term, if you look at this, if you watch this video 10 years from now, this company will likely be bankrupt. Okay? Beyond Meat, it's vegan stuff. I don't give a shit what it is, okay? As I mentioned, most of the shittiest stocks, I said this on my Twitter as well, most of the shittiest stocks often make, and this is hilarious here, there's 0 shares to short available, meaning everyone's shorting this, okay? And I don't understand. As I mentioned, I went over, I said shittiest companies often make the drastic move, herd mentality. Again, you don't want to short the backside of the move. As I mentioned, we are just getting the backside on these quantum names, okay? No one knew this was going to go from $15 to the high of 58. Okay, you wait for the backside, for the moving averages to be declining, not rising, and you want to think in terms of risk reward as a short seller. I'm not going to call no one out, but there's a well-known trader who was shorting this today, and I just don't understand this, okay? What is your reward? You know, it's not going to go back to 50 cents. It could, but what? But you understand what I'm saying? You have more upside than downside in this shit because the stock is already in the gutter and there's more upside. And as a short seller, again, it's supply and demand, okay? As I just showed you, whoever tweeted this shit right here, there's no shorts. There's no... This is one broker, you know. I'm pretty sure this is across the board and all the other brokers. There's no shorts available to short, meaning everyone's is piling on this shit, okay? And I've been seeing some things about options, how they're in the money for $40 in December. This is going to be interesting to see what happens, okay? Because as a short seller, again, you think in terms of risk to reward. And from my previous long, I got long yesterday right about here. And it was a swing, great swing, and I sold for a gain right in this range right here. But as I saw it reclaim VWAP, that's when I rebought, and I got pretty much big size. I'm getting roughly 13,000 shares. I'm along this right now, and I added pretty much along the way. I even added here into the close, but my average is 275. That is my average. And again, with the short selling, okay, with all this volume, again, roughly 2 billion of the day, you have to think in terms of layers of shorts. There's layers of shorts stuck in this. So every time it pulls back, they're covering. And it's the same effect, you know, it's building layers and layers and layers of shorts. And that's why all of these dip buyings are getting bought back up from longs and shorts covering, and it's just exhausting if you're a short seller. which is why I always tell you I don't short sell, not now at least. The best time to short is on plays like which one was it today? Well, I'm not gonna talk about short selling. I'm not gonna confuse you. I'm not gonna do it. But I'm just trying to show you that number one, okay, never say a stock cannot go higher. This will likely gap up. I'm not sure how high it'll gap up. It'll likely gap up. And we'll see what happens then. But we've seen this exact same scenario on GME a couple years ago, you know, when it went to insanity, you know. Same thing with AMC, same exact thing, okay. It's these short sellers who don't learn, and unfortunately I do believe some traders did blow up today on this short selling this stuff. Not yet, but I think this is gonna do something crazy. To be honest, I can see this doing something. Who knows? I'm not saying it's gonna go to $10, but it may. To be honest, the volume's there, which is just absolutely insane. But I just want to make this quick video lesson for y'all out there. I don't know who you are, but just understand that, like, number one rule, in my opinion, you don't short a stock on day one of the move, okay? And I consider this day one of the move, even though yesterday was a percentage gain. It really wasn't nothing as today, in my opinion. You know, we had a good momentum yesterday. Pretty much the exact same type of pattern on the intraday chart there, dip and rip. On that one. But yeah, it's been doing well. And another thing is, recently, as I mentioned, like as a swing trader, like you're gonna be in a drawdown a lot. And this past couple of weeks, I've been in a drawdown. But all it takes is really one stock to really wipe out all those losses. And today was a great day. You know, my largest gain this year. But I'm gonna swing this again. The method's still the same. Trail 10 day. Of course, the higher this goes extended, I'm not gonna like close it before 256. No, I'm gonna raise my stop as this gets higher. But I just want to make this really quick and simple. The main lesson here is just don't underestimate a stock. Okay, don't just say if the company's shit, it doesn't mean it can't go higher. Okay, the only thing that matters is price, action, and volume. Okay, and if there's fuel, rocket fuel, it's gonna go. Okay, it's gonna go. And this will likely close above 5. Who knows? We'll see here. We have about 20 minutes of market close. But the best way to learn this setup, I would say, is by studying the past. As I always mentioned, okay, previous runners can run again. When I saw this on my scan yesterday, I didn't know this was gonna have this big move, but I knew the odds. The odds of this was gonna be potential. They've done so many reverse splits, so it doesn't justify the chart. But this has gone supernova in the past, okay? And again, as I mentioned, other thing, filter out the news, okay? I mean, filter out the herd. Most people don't know nothing, as I mentioned. And Twitter's a good thing, but this guy has 300,000 shares. That's hilarious. It's crazy. But yeah, just understand that who knows? You know, this is gonna be a short squeeze. Probably one big short squeeze. But yeah, we'll see what happens.